Muskegon Heights Schools is cutting its ties with Mosaica Education, the private for-profit company that signed on to run the fledgling district 3 years before their contract is set to expire. The two sides say the breakup is mutual. Target 8 investigator Danny Carlson started looking into the company weeks ago as it struggled to pay teachers and uncovered some problems in the past. Tonight, she's asking why the state got into business with this company in the first place.
I spent days at the Michigan Department of Education reading through documents about these charter schools. And what I learned about Mosaica's history in the state of Michigan over the past decade may shock you. I then tried to contact the emergency manager who signed Mosaica, but he's now the emergency manager for Pontiac schools and turned out to be difficult to get on camera. It's a topic former Muskegon Heights emergency manager Don Weatherspoon initially told me in an email he, quote, wasn't inclined to talk about. But we tracked him down today in Lansing. We'd just like to talk to you about Mosaica. Yes.
I'd rather stop so you can talk about some things first.
Okay, but initially you said you didn't even want to talk with us, so I'm...
Because I'm not there anymore.
Right, and I'm not talking about right now. I'm talking about the decision to... Mosaica has a history of... Yes. But after talking to the Treasury Department's press secretary, Weatherspoon agreed to answer a few of our questions about his 2012 decision to hire Mosaica Education, Inc. to run the newly created Muskegon Heights Public School Academy. That decision was made despite Mosaica's past, which includes several Michigan schools shutting down after Mosaica took over. Like what happened in 2011 at Capital Area Academy in Lansing. It was forced to shut its doors after its charter wasn't renewed for things like low MEP scores and concerns about the academy's leadership practices and curriculum. And Detroit Advantage Academy shut down because of low MEP scores and poor student performance. And a year after the school fired Mosaica, the company was awarded more than $2 million for management fees, payrolls the company had advanced the district, and building improvements. Why was the decision made to gamble our taxpayer dollars on a company that has this history?
It wasn't a gamble. It was a decision that was made based on those people who responded to the RFP, and during the interview process, all of that was disclosed to us.
But still, the company has a problem of running failing school districts and then suing those school districts. Didn't it seem like a risk? You're saying it's not a gamble, but it seems like a gamble.
We put conditions in the contract for very close oversight, and we did monitor them very carefully.
But in January 2013, about 4 months after Mosaica took over, questions were raised about how the new district was working. A letter from Weatherspoon's attorney to the company states there was never a clear list of the state and federal educational mandatory requirements in all areas, and that Mosaica was slow in meeting state-mandated transparency requirements. And you actually even addressed that when you were the emergency manager, saying there needed to be stricter academic supervision.
That is correct. If you look at the contract, it did say that they had to perform at a level where the kids could graduate from college. Now, given the academic status of those children, some of them could not move forward fast enough to get at grade level for reading, etc.
Then 5 months later, in May 2013, Weatherspoon himself wrote the charter district, saying Mosaica needed to let him know about all financial transactions because there had been some difficulties. That was about a year into the contract. He requested quarterly reports to avoid what he called, quote, past misunderstandings about borrowing and expenses. A contract that Western Michigan University professor Gary Muron says is in Mosaica's favor. Would you think it's more beneficial to the district and the state, or more beneficial to the management company?
It's more beneficial to the management company. It's set up so that they're going to get theirs, no matter what their performance.
Muron does yearly reports on charter schools and the companies that run them.
And if we look at the relations with the boards and the number of times they're being fired, Mosaica stands out.
But when Mosaica gets fired, Mosaica tends to sue.
Right, and it becomes expensive for the board or for the taxpayers in the end to cover that. So that's why we see a lot of Mosaica in the news in different states, is because of this very difficult separations that occur.
But in this case, state and district leaders promise the split was mutual, and despite past suits the company has filed and sometimes won, This time, they say that won't happen. Are you sure they're not going to sue?
I believe there's a provision that they won't sue. Neither side will sue.
Will the school district be open in September?
Yes, ma'am. That's a definite.
That's it. We're done. Thanks.
Although the CEO of Mosaica has spoken to me in the past, today he did not return my call. State leaders today approved a $1.4 million loan for Muskegon Heights, which will help pay off costs and keep the district open through the rest of this school year. State leaders say they hope to have a new company in place running the district by the end of June.